Kemper had no trouble picking up hitchhikers. Ironically, one warning advised riding only in cars with university stickers. Kemper's car had such a sticker.
My mother worked at the campus, and I had an A sticker on my car, and obvious access day or night to the campus. I was picking up some very lovely young women. You know what we were talking about as we're driving around, almost as often as not? This guy that's going around doing this stuff. And the second they started talking that, they didn't realize it, but they were getting a free ride. I couldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, I swear. You know, but they'd be telling me all about this guy, and they're comparing notes and speculating on what he looks like, how he carries himself, why he's doing this stuff, telling me about it.
So how come they get in a car with somebody at that time?
She judged me not to be that guy. I didn't look like him. It was getting easier to do. I was getting better at it. I was getting less detectable. I started flaunting that invisibility, severing a human head, 2 of them, at night in front of my mother's residence, with her at home, my neighbors at home upstairs, their picture window open, the curtains open, 11 o'clock at night, the lights are on. All they have to do is walk by, look out, and I've had it.
Why did you keep the heads? Why did you cut them off, and why did you keep them?
Something out of my childhood. I could put it on an incident. I mean, my father chopping the heads off of our 2 pet chickens, and my mother insisting that I eat them for dinner. You know, we could say it was something that simple. I don't think it was. I still loved my mother, and it's hard for somebody to comprehend that you murder your mother through love. It isn't a rational process. It's a very painful process. It isn't rational, and I've got to still live with that.
Why did you wind up giving yourself up?
It had to stop. It had to stop. Once my mother was dead, there's almost a cathartic process at that point. I got physically ill right then, when she died, when I murdered her. And once she was dead, there was no way I could back out. I had backed down from giving up 1,000 times. You know, I used to get drunk and go sit out in front of the sheriff's department in a parking lot across the street on one of those little concrete parking berms, and I just sit there and say, no, I still can't. The clanging doors, I could still hear them. No, because it'll never open again. You know, so I rationalized that to give up would be insane. To give up would be crazy. I'd be giving away my freedom, and I don't need to. But I look back on that and wish I had earlier, when I was saying those things to myself. The people who were later dead wouldn't be. The regret that came later would have not had to be.
Why do you think you were spared any of the violence?
Well, I believe it was the brother we built her while he was living here. And he used to sit here and watch, and I think she made it possible that he couldn't touch us.
Do you think the Blessed Mother was looking over you?
Oh, definitely.
How do the neighbors feel? Do they all know about it now?
Well, some do, and some are not aware of it yet.
Edmund Kemper never bothered his neighbors on this Alameda Street, paid his rent, and went his own way. Except for his 6'9", 280-pound frame, he could have gone unnoticed.
He was an average person. He blended in with everybody. I mean, he talked a lot. When we had a barbecue down here in the backyard last July, but the only time he didn't talk too much was when, like, if I'd meet him in the garage by myself, or he was coming in and I was going out, or the other way around. All he would say is hi, and that was it. But if you tried to start a conversation with him, it was kind of useless. You know, he never really volunteered anything. So.
How do you feel now that you found out he was a neighbor?
Scared stiff, because he really was a neighbor. I lived right next door in the next apartment next to him. And just gives me the creeps is kind of an understatement.
Kemper lived here last year, but it is now that the aftershocks are setting in, and the Binns family will continue to rely on the Blessed Mother for protection.
I'm an American, and I went off the deep end.
With an IQ of 136, Kemper is now the prison's best reader of books for the blind.
I'm saying I've wanted to kill my mother since I was 8 years old, and I'm not proud of that. It started with surrogates at a non-human level. Physical objects, my possessions, other people's, destruction of things that are cared about, and then destruction of things that are living on a lower level, small animals, insects, animals, and then finally people. It started coming to a head again, so I went back down. I ran away back down there. And then a month later, I'm up living with my grandparents in the mountains, and 10 months later, I murdered them.